Star Wars The High Republic is a brand new start for Disney-era Star Wars books, set in their very own era, free to tell a tale unrelated to any events or characters seen in the movies or TV series. So far, I have read Light of the Jedi, The Great Jedi Rescue, Into the Dark, and Test of Courage, and I'm currently reading The Rising Storm. So firstly, let's talk about Light of the Jedi. So Star Wars The High Republic, Light of the Jedi is the first novel of the Star Wars The High Republic multimedia project launched in 2021. The novel was written by Charles Soule and is set approximately 200 years before the events of Star Wars The Phantom Menace. A ship tears to pieces in hyperspace, sending untold amount of destruction across an entire system. It's up to the Jedi to help and discover what caused this to happen. And I thought Light of the Jedi was genuinely great. It's one of the best Disney-era Star Wars books that I've personally read in a while. It has some really great moments and characters, my personal favorites being Loden Greatstorm and his Padawan Bell Zenithar. Also accompanying them is Porter Engle. He was also a wonderful addition. Any chapter with these guys was great. The Great Disaster at the beginning of the book was really exciting, and it was also pretty sad. It was definitely an explosive opening to the book and this new era of Star Wars. Light of the Jedi is definitely kind of an ensemble cast, following several different characters like Avar Kriss and Elzar Mann. They're also pretty good. Overall, this is a really solid book, and a pretty good start to this new era. Now, The Great Jedi Rescue. This is pretty much a short picture book recapping the events of the Great Disaster that we saw in Light of the Jedi. Nothing really new, but if you want to see pictures of the Great Disaster, this book is for you. Into the Dark was probably the most disappointing. I've enjoyed most of Claudia Gray's books, Lost Stars being a personal favorite, and the start of this book is really good, and I enjoyed our cast of characters for the most part. Reef Silas was interesting, Comac was a good character. It was fine, but there's just so much of this book that was just very boring and bland. Only getting interesting towards the end, but a large portion of this book was just really uninteresting. Test of Courage was a very short, underwhelming book. It's also mainly aimed at kids, so I don't want to be too negative on it. Vernestra was fine, she was the main character. Imri was okay. His struggle with anger was sort of interesting, but the book is just so short that it doesn't really leave much breathing room for you to really get invested in what's going on or these characters. And so far, I think the Nihil are the main villains of this era, and so far I find them very boring. Ro is the only interesting part about them. He's the only character that is compelling, and that when he is in a chapter, it's actually pretty engaging. But any other time the Nihil are there, it's incredibly boring, generic, bland, just very boring. Like, that's the biggest sin I think a book can be, is boring, and the Nihil are boring. Right now, I'm about halfway through The Rising Storm, and so far it's about as good as Light of the Jedi. Everything I liked in that book, I'm still liking here. The Nihil, still not too crazy. The Nihil were actually pretty decent in Light of the Jedi. Here, same deal. They're still decent, when Ro's on the scene, it's much better, but oh god, when it is any other Nihil character, I'm so tempted just to skip it, because it's just that bad. Once I finish The Rising Storm, I plan on making a video about it. So far, though, besides the Nihil, pretty positive feelings towards it. I think there's a lot of promise with the High Republic. There's so many cool and interesting stories that we can explore, and I hope that we can get some really, truly great Star Wars books from this era. I love the Jedi, everything with them is always really interesting to me, and hey, I really hope this succeeds and that we get some great, books from this series.